Hello, my name is Dave Chaudhary, and today I'm making a sustainable candle. So one thing I used was a reused mason jar I found, so as well as a rosemary I found in my backyard as well. I also got a wick from Michael's to start and continue the fire. For the wax in my candle, I decided to use beeswax. This was because it is a renewable source for wax and it is less harmful to the environment rather than using other sources of wax. After getting all our ingredients, we need to move them aside to do the first step. The first step of which is to measure out how much beeswax we need for the candle. I put it in the mason jar to see how much wax I would need to make the candle. I made sure to fill it up all the way to prevent it to be too little or not enough for the candle. Then I would put it in the pan for later use because beeswax can melt quite fast and we don't want to burn the wax. The next step is to harvest the rosemary off of the large stem. So we're going to cut it in half as we don't need all of the rosemary and we're just going to put it off to the side. I opted to use rosemary instead of any chemical fragrance or essential oils. Traditional fragrance additives in candles release VOC emissions, which can have adverse effects on indoor air quality, which can result in respiratory diseases. After we're done, we put the rosemary aside and put the wick inside the candle. To do so, we get our mason jar, the wick, and the metal piece. The metal piece is important as it anchors down the wick, so we need to put the wood within the metal. After doing so, I put 2 rubber bands around the mason jar. This was to prevent the wick from moving when putting in the wax and for it to settle in shape. After doing so, I would move the rubber bands closer together to make sure they tighten and move the rubber band in the middle to where I want it to be. The next step was to melt the wax. Melting the wax did not take very long, so then after it was done melting, we decided to put in the rosemary. This was in hopes to infuse the rosemary with the wax, so when the candle was lit, it would smell much nicer. After doing so, we would pour in the wax carefully inside the mason jar. After pouring out the entirety of the wax into the mason jar, we will give it time for the wax to set. Creating the candle focuses on sustainability and combating air pollution. This is because petroleum wax, a common wax used to create candles, release harmful emissions when burned. Additionally, they are made up of harmful chemicals to be scented, which can also be harmful to the environment. This impact is also global as it addresses the problems that come from these candles, allowing many to better understand and attempt to tackle the ongoing problem as well. After letting the candles set, we take off the rubber bands from the mason jar and prepare to cut off a portion of the wick for it to be proportionate to the candle. Afterwards, it is done and prepared to be used.